Hello, welcome to a webinar, a deep dive into different upgrade options for Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. And I will be a presenter today. Ugnius Natavičius. I'm senior Business Central expert with over 8 years of experience. I participated in many 800 plus upgrade projects and have extensive knowledge of standard Microsoft upgrade procedures, and we did and experienced with each Business Central versions, mainly from 3.7 old version to the newest Business Central releases. Before starting, I want to say that questions can be asked during all the workshop through chat in the panel. I see some people already started to saying hello from the locations they are in. Then please look at the handouts section in the webinar room pane to get a free ebook from our company factory. And there will be some polls, 3 of them. Please pay attention and answer those. And before starting, I will say many keywords more than these, but these are the main keywords for us maybe to understand more each other. Of course, these keywords are used in almost all companies, but just to be true, I want to tell them. So standard is code released by Microsoft. So everywhere where you see blue color or standard word, it's Microsoft code I'm talking about. Then red are customizations. They are partner or customer made modifications, changes in the standard Microsoft code. And base app is one of the Microsoft standard applications which contains Microsoft standard code. And 2 last ones are events methods, which started used in Business Central, I think 4 or 5 years before. And maybe you heard about them, but again, event publisher is a hookup point or exposure function, which lets subscriber events to subscribe to. And mainly, there are only 2 types of standard event publishers. One of them, the standard event publishers are created by Microsoft, and custom event publishers are modifications in base app. Of course, we heard a lot that base app changing is not the way to go to the newest releases, but I will cover this in the next slides. And event subscriber are custom event subscriber events which are held in the partner or customer extension outside the base application, but they are dependent on the standard or custom event publishers there are in. And you see the infographics in the right below. I will be also using them. We are creating them to explain what is the architecture in the different versions like CL, IL, or SaaS, and so on. And you see all those keywords were put in that infographic. And these are journeys I'm going to go through today, 3 on-premises and 3 SaaS journeys. And also you see some example infographics, again, which show you how base app or standard objects can be modified in on-premise and how it is strictly prohibited in SaaS version to do any change in the base app and to have only extension. And first poll is, I want to ask you, are you planning to upgrade? Yes, I will start to see the answers shortly. Yeah, mainly I see almost everyone say yes. Oh, there are some no's. Yeah, but 80% are saying yes, we are going to upgrade. So good, good to know. Okay, so I will start with the Azure part, which is so-called hybrid SaaS module. To create machine in Azure and install SQL Server, NAV, Windows client or web client components, configure Office if needed, configure backups, monitoring. It can be done from 5 minutes to 50 hours, but it's still not that time which you need to consider. The real life challenges are in the SaaS world, Microsoft SaaS, and there are some things you can't have today. It will be implemented in the future, but of course, customer or partner needs upgrades needed yesterday, and they cannot upgrade to SaaS, and the late message is not acceptable. So there is Azure part which can help. And real life situations, very common situation like this. So localization is not available in your current location. ICV solution, it's still only on premises and only thinking to go SaaS. And you need to think if you're going to use new ICV or wait for current ICV add-on to be available in SaaS. And partner needs to upgrade to SaaS, so you can again offer Azure, which can be interim step. Then extensive modifications needed, so longer field lengths. In, for example, we saw in projects item numbers were increased and serious numbers. But Microsoft also did that part in the NAV 2000, the Business Central releases. Then module changes. If you are using very old NAV job module, it's changed a lot, but you need still to have some modifications in it, and they can't be implemented in new versions. You need to change the base application or move functionality to custom version, and so these are the real examples. Then database size, it's only limited to 80 gigabytes. You need to think how you need to, where you need to transfer all files, data, which the blob storage, which mainly is the problem, how you need to archive 5 or 10-year-old data. So again, you need some time to shrink database size to a usable working solution and only then move to SaaS. Then you cannot keep with frequent upgrade schedule if you are a big company and SaaS updates every month. It's very hard to keep up, and if you are not going to keep up, you can even break after 6 months. So again, you can try it. You can do some testing in Azure, how upgrade works. You can roll back in Azure, but you can't roll back in SaaS. Then integration requirements, for example, VPN requirements. Of course, there are some backdoors to use it. That's more simple and more module way is to use all integrations or VPNs in Azure, not in the Microsoft SaaS standard. And one thing, end of life of current location servers. So again, if you are thinking to invest into new location servers, please think about Azure, which has more benefits than having the computer of your own. So pay per use, so it's almost a monthly subscription. It's very good, and also these times, current times, you can, if company is on standby for 5 months, you can suspend temporarily a connection. You don't need, I think, to pay for it. You can archive it before running again. Of course, this is not a recommended way. Scalability, you can scale down, downsize, upgrade when you need. So you have, for example, every month you do upgrade in the weekend. You can do a machine upgrade to have more RAMs, to faster data migration process, and downsize before customer comes and uses the system. No infrastructure costs except what you're paying currently will be paying. Monitoring, certified security, disaster recovery, and world-class data centers, and so on about the benefits. Again, you can plan for the future in the Azure. You can do not upgrade in one step. You can split in 5 steps how you would upgrade to SaaS and switch off old functionalities and re-implement code. Very simple, and customer is already in the Azure using some new SaaS possibilities. Of course, from Click Factory, we as a company have our self-provisioning called, which is Azure portal. We already have 70,000 users, and these slides were from our experience. And second poll, to which version you want to upgrade, to on-premise or SaaS? Because now I will be going to be in the deep dive in the next slides. I see on-premises was first, but right now SaaS jumped to 40%. Yeah, it's not changing. Yeah, it's only changing a bit, but BC SaaS is considered for 40%, and on-premises still considered 60%, which is majority. But if I would ask this question a year ago, I think 90% would be on-premises. But it's a good to know that wave is changing and SaaS is being considered more and more. So first upgrade method is a clean start, and I will cover on-premises and SaaS options, both of them. Firstly, clean start. Clean start is an upgrade of data migration first. So we are removing all functionality. We are migrating data, only data, to the newest Business Central releases, on-premises or SaaS options. And then you can go to customer or try the new SaaS version with the customer data, how customer used application before, and implement few things or functionalities from scratch, which customer still needs and what is missing still in the base application. So this is a re-implementation upgrade, but with the same data. So we are transferring everything, not only mandatory vendors, customers, ledger entries, and so on. We are transferring all the data, even in any table, with using Microsoft standard tools. So this method is used mainly for very old solutions where same modifications are not fitting anymore within new standard code because it's changed too much. So this is a good path to clear old unused code, clear old unused modules modifications, and redevelop from scratch newly based Business Central solution extension. And the scope is, like I said, transfer the only data structure without code, so fields and tables, create the extension, run test data migration, where data migration tools, standard Microsoft tools were used and created, to use also custom functionality, documentation, how to use them. And in the SaaS scope, it's only a difference that you need to use a cloud intelligent synchronization tool, which pushes data from on-premise to SaaS, but we would still do the same on-premise upgrade to the newest Business Central, and only then additionally execute a SaaS synchronization tool. Delivery is that's only table field extension app and migrate the database backup for on-premises version. And for SaaS, it's only SaaS tenant. It's again because SaaS, like I said, is grading every month, and the methodology and tools are changing. For example, if we would migrate data today to SaaS, after 3 months, Business Central 18 will be released, and you will be using even a different platform than we had currently. So that's why we can't give the documentation which works. Of course, we can give tools which work currently, but yeah, please think about this, that SaaS is moving part, so please do not hold up go live of data migration for 1 or 2 years. After, you need to do it faster. And the recommendations, so again, I said few SaaS limitations why you need to stay on premise, but Clean Start is mainly used to go to SaaS and to deliver SaaS solutions. Of course, extension which works on SaaS, it works also on premise, on Azure. So if even customer don't want to use SaaS, he can be on premise Azure, but still we recommend not to change the base application and use SaaS standards. If in any day customer would reconsider this option. Okay, I see no questions. So let's move to the code upgrade to the newest on-premises. Code is changing a lot. If reviewing Business Central each release code change count, we are writing a blog every half a year to introduce you what Microsoft has changed. And we have few parts which we analyze and which help to plan or see how much standard changed, what Microsoft does in each half a year, and what we are going to expect during the upgrade. So there are not many code changes. Code changes are done so only to clean up the CL version structure. So parentheses, spaces are being put. These objects are have big numbers of changed objects, but mainly for formatting cases. The most currently in the next slides, most relevant parameter is standard event publishers. They are increasing a lot. So from comparing Business Central 16 and 17, 2,000 of standard event publishers appeared in the base application. And we are thinking that 2,000 or 3,000 more will be in the Business Central 18. So we'll see about this. And about the Microsoft text-to-L conversion tool, I want only to mention that it works only from CL version. So the recommended steps are move to events in the Business Central 14 CL where possible, where standard event exists. Then run text-to-L tool, which converts CL objects to AL objects, and solve limitations, which what tool doesn't do. So text-to-L tool limitations mainly everything related to modifications in code. Parameter behavior almost covered with this tool, but if you have any modification, any code change, it is not doing the text-to-L tool. That's why we recommend to start moving to events even before running this tool. And why I'm mentioning this? So the cheapest and the fastest way to go from CL to AL is to keep the same structure and to merge the modifications to the base application. But I'm going to show you why this is a bad practice. If partner still wants to have the extension because you need to keep up with the upgrade cycle, for example, you need to upgrade every 6 months, so you still need to do merge. And like you saw in the 2 slides before, Microsoft is changing 2,000 or 3,000 doing code changes in each release. So your object is in one of those objects, you have a conflict and you need to solve it. And if you want extension, then you are already in AL, you need to execute text-to-L tool by hand because it only works from CL version to AL version. And when you are in AL, and you want the extension, you need to do that tool tasks by hand. And of course, solve the same limitations what that tool had, but yeah. And our recommended way, it's not the cheapest, not the fastest way, but to use this tool and to be future safe, to create the extension when going from CL to AL version. And if you are not convinced until now, I can show you some numbers from demo estimates we did. So upgrade without extension, there was one partner quite big which upgraded. You see it's only 27,000 euros. But the next upgrade would cost almost the same or a bit less, but still there are a lot of conflicts, a lot of code modifications, standard changes, price functionality implementation, and so on. So we still need to do the same code merge, and to create the extension, if you would do it from CL to L, you would do it, like I said, a bit easier, the tool, because you need to solve only code limitations. But if you're not going to use this tool, imagine the pages. If you add 4 fields in the page, the standard page, in the extension, you need to replace it with very different structure, and it raises the cost because you are doing that part by hand and not using the tool. And the upgrade 2 would cost even more than the first upgrade to the extension, and of course to uplift the extension. It has the price, but it's 2 or 3 times lower than it would be the object upgrade. And in total, you see the numbers from 2 upgrades, which shows the real situation. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, mainly because of those changed objects. Then there are obsolete pending objects, which are increasing hundreds with each release. And removed state objects, they are not changing, but we never know what is going to happen with those 200 pending objects. They could be removed in the Business Central 18 version. Then how to go to on-premise. So we recommend to create the extension by using Microsoft tool, but you still have some code conflicts where there is no standard publishers in Microsoft Business Central based application. So our recommendation is to create custom publishers, but only those where you need, not to create for all modifications which cannot be moved. Maybe those modifications can be implemented a bit differently, but I see one question. Yes, Michael, the TextWell tool can be used at all when you are in the AL version. Because the question was by hand means the tool can be used at all. So the answer is yes. Yeah. So create on premise is to create some publishers where you truly need and request them to Microsoft. So Microsoft has, I showed you in previous slide, has a link where you can request missing publishers in the base application, and temporary you can create custom events where you need and request those custom publisher events to Microsoft. And after some time, like you saw, Microsoft creates almost 2,000 publishers. From our experience, Microsoft created all requests in half a year. So just you need to wait half a year and you can get rid of those custom publishers because they are created as standard ones. And this way is saving a lot of time of pre-implementation works because everything is possible. You can copy standard objects to the custom range. You can do any modifications, use standard logic, but in the custom range. But the upgrades, next upgrades also could be a bit challenging because you still need to apply all standard changes to your copied standard objects and again. So best way is to create publisher and wait for Microsoft to be created. And with this method, if you do it at third step, get rid of all code modifications by creating temporary custom event publishers, requesting to Microsoft, you have a modification-free extension currently. So to do a shift, lifting is that first part, but to do a shift is that you only need to solve SaaS limitations in your extension, which are mainly file functionality, SMTP setup, and other few things. Of course, in major businesses could be a big thing, but only those things are left to consider and to solve before going to SaaS. So our lift and shift strategy is lifting is going to do the on-premise upgrade to the newest Business Central, create custom publishers where you need, request them to Microsoft, and focus on the SaaS limitations which need to be resolved. So file functionality, like I said, yeah, those things. When you solve SaaS limitations and Microsoft creates those publishers, you can do a shift phase, which is a second on-premise upgrade, where your publishers are new standard publishers, your SaaS limitations are solved, so you only need to shift data to SaaS, because your extension is ready to be used in the SaaS tenant as per tenant extension. But of course, there are some simple solutions, and upgrade to SaaS can be done in one step. So transferring solution to the target value SaaS. So this can be even faster method for simpler solutions, but there is one bad thing, that re-implement costs are bigger, because if you have no standard publishers, you need to do some workarounds, maybe need a consultant works to discuss how to implement, how to use the part which is not working anymore in new system, search maybe for new standard features. Maybe this implementation could be even more efficient than it was before, but still it's a more costly job to do in the upgrade, which can be easily avoided by requesting publishers. But if there are a few parts, yeah, it can happen. So these were 6 journeys which I told, and the last poll is which journey you liked most and you are thinking to use. Maybe some journey you liked a lot. And let's see the answers. Yeah, they are coming. Yeah, the clean start was winning, but now I see the upgrade on premises. And maybe I can create a new slide to show you the results. Yeah, so these are the results from all the polls, and you see the upgrade on premises wins today because mainly I think of many reasons, many SaaS limitations, maybe the modifications in base application, but still other options are considered very similar, like moving to Azure and start on-premise or upgrading to SaaS has almost the same percentage. And just before you go, that were my last slides. I want to say that One-Click Factory has a tool, which we call Upgrade Analyzer, and we calculate all these journeys I talked about for free. You would see, by uploading a FOB file, you would see this window with the fixed price for each solution, and you don't need to pay anything. And after clicking See Details, you may see a split outlines, how much each step, upgrade step, would cost. And for example, if you're moving from classic client, you have even some possibilities to go to foreign AV, for example, during reports, upgrade from classic layout or to EC, or to move to standard or custom events and to have Azure environment and so on. So thank you for the polls. It was quite a good webinar, I think, and yeah, follow us on LinkedIn in the chat. And yes, I see one more question. Would I suggest to use SQL Server in the virtual machine? Oh, comments deleted. Maybe because people left. Yes. So thank you for the webinar. There are no questions. And have a nice rest of the day.